What's up, legends, and welcome back to another Unmatched Adventures Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles First Impressions videos. Whew, that is like a whole mouthful to say. In this video, I'm going to be giving you my initial thoughts, reactions, and insight on Donatello, the Purple Turtle, after a handful of games as this character. Given that small sample size, I am likely to be slightly incorrect or off about some of the things I say in this video, but that's where the fun comes in, because months and or years from now, you will watch this video and say, "Oh, baked goods, you soggy old cow. What a silly prediction you had." But I'm not always wrong. Sometimes I'm right, and I have a good feeling I am going to be right about this character, Donatello, who is the smart, inventive turtle of the four. Real quick, I just want to say, there is another creator on YouTube. His name is Historically Unmatched, aka Angel Cake, aka Angel. He's a close friend of mine. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is one of his favorite intellectual properties of all time. And of his favorite property, Donatello is his favorite turtle, I'm pretty sure. He is dedicating the rest of his life to creating a guide to play Donatello. If he comments on this video, I'm gonna pin that comment so you can check to see what he has to say about this character. And also, if he ever makes a video about Donatello, you should go watch it. And yeah, this man is dedicating the rest of his time on planet Earth to this turtle. And for that, we thank him. But anyways, here's my idiotic thoughts about this character. Donatello is a melee character. Oh, I said it right. Let's start over. Donatello is a melee character. That sounds so much better. With 14 health, a move value of 2, and a sidekick, Metalhead, who is also melee and has 7 health. Donatello is inventive. Whenever you maneuver, you may draw 2 cards instead of 1. If you do, put a card in your hand on the bottom of your deck. After you play an Invention, tuck it under this card. When I say this is going to be one of the best characters in the game, this ability is partially the reason why. Let's take a step back. This guy's insane! Holy cow. Whenever you maneuver, you may draw 2 cards instead of 1. If you do, put a card in your hand on the bottom of your deck. What? Basically, you just get hyper, super duper consistency. You need a defense, and you're in top deck mode. You got no cards in your hand. Your opponent is gonna wallop you big time if you don't have anything to block with. Draw 2 cards. Put the one you don't want on the bottom. It's just, oh my god. This helps you find the cards you need when you need them so much faster than like any other character in the game. Donatello cannot get aggroed out. You just can't, because you just double maneuver. You get to look at 4 cards, and you put 2 cards that you don't want on the bottom of your deck. It's not even one of the 2 that you drew that you're bottom decking. You can draw 2 cards, decide that you like both of them, and put a different card in your hand on the bottom of your deck. What? This also helps you protect your good cards from decks with hand peaks and then discards. Like if you're playing against Sherlock and you want to protect one of your inventions, you just tuck it onto the bottom of your deck. And you'll probably get to it later because you're going through your deck twice as fast as any other character. Holy cow. And to top it off, besides just that amazing maneuver enhancement, you have something called Inventions, which are unique. You have an action, an attack, and a defense. And after you play them, you tuck it under your character card, and it provides you a passive effect for the rest of the game. Insanity. One thing I would like to mention is that you have to play the inventions. So if the invention gets discarded or some other, it leaves your hand and does not get played, you do not get the effect. But Donatello has lots of recursion. So worst case scenario, if you lose a card, you just get it back and then play it and then get the effect. Holy cow. The stats are slightly underwhelming. Double melee. I said it right. Stupid. Double melee with like subpar health. 14 is like pretty low for a melee character. 7 is like average for a sidekick, and move 2. But I think the maneuver consistency and the passive invention buffs will definitely help you in the long game. Let's take a look at some of the cards. We have the Turtle common cards here. Let's just get the interesting thing out of the way. Turtle power is an any, and that is because I believe, I know nothing about the lore, but Metalhead appears to be a turtle, which makes sense that he is allowed to use this 3-value attack. During combat, you may boost this card. Let's keep the boost values of future cards in mind when evaluating the goodness of this card. Let's also keep in mind that Donatello is the only one that can use heroes in a half shell, because I guess Metalhead is neither a hero nor in a half shell. But yeah, solid cards. I think Donatello is the least deserving of this card out of any of the turtles, and we will see why soon, but that is because I think it will be really hard to kill him from a he is going to block everything and pretty well standpoint. Yeah, solid cards. We got the inventions. We have the main event of this deck. These are all Donatello cards, and essentially what they do is when you play them, you can remove up to 4 of a specific type of card from your discard pile from the game. You get some immediate effect to that card based on how many cards you remove, and then after you play the invention, it gets tucked under your hero card and you get a passive ability for the rest of the game. Electro Grenade is a attack, and it says during combat, remove up to 4 attack or versatile cards in your discard pile from the game. Add +1 to this card's value for each card removed. And then its invention effect is add +1 to the value of your attacks. It says your attacks, which means both Donatello and Metalhead get the buff. And this card's pretty good. You can use it as just like a 2-value attack really early in the game, not removing anything from your discard pile, like not really worried about buffing it, and just now every one of your attacks for the rest of the game is better. Or you can kind of save it for later in the game, where you can make it potentially a 6, and then you get a buff for however long the rest of the game lasts. The removing cards from your discard pile is relevant. Normally, it like wouldn't really matter, but your deck has a decent amount of recursion, which is why you might not want to use one of these cards like in the mid game if you're removing a card that like you want to recur, you just haven't seen the recursion yet. But overall, I think if you use this like turn 1 or 2 and just make your attacks super good for the rest of the game, you can't really go wrong there. One thing to note, all of these have boost values of 3, which I'm not saying you would want to boost into Turtle Power, but Turtle Power could be a 6 in that regard. And with the invention buff from Electro Grenade, Turtle Power could be a base 4, which means you could get it to a 7 possibly. Nuts. Self-Defense Grid, Donatello 2-value defense card. It says after combat, remove up to 4 defense or versatile cards in your discard pile from the game. Donatello recovers that much health. So this is a decent block. The low value means you're probably going to take some damage over the top, but then you just kind of heal it back. So essentially it's like a 6-value block card, and then whatever your opponent, like the difference between your opponent's card and the 6 gets just like converted into excess health, which is pretty good. This is also like a electro grenade you could use early and just ride the buff for the rest of the game. Same thing with self-defense grid, where you play it like as your first block of the game. You don't really heal anything, but then you just like block even better for the rest of the game. This turns Heroes in a Half Shell into a 6 value block. Wow. I did say that Donatello is a little squishy. The 14 health isn't a lot, especially for a melee character. But, you know, like, if you just play self-defense grid early enough and you're blocking everything with an extra point for the rest of the game, might not matter that you didn't heal. And Smoke Bomb, which is a scheme. It says remove up to 4 scheme cards in your discard pile from the game. Gain that many actions. I believe you have 6 other schemes. So you could potentially play this early and then get the Titania Glamour Effect, Glamour of Rhyme, I want to say. When you play a scheme, gain 1 action. So that kind of makes all of your schemes better for the rest of the game. Or you could play this late in the game and have a sick combo turn where you just gain a bunch of actions. I will say that because playing this scheme takes an action, if you remove 1 scheme, you basically get to play this card for free. And then anything else is like a net gain of actions. And this, especially paired with like an Electro Grenade where all of your attacks are better, could be a very devastating finishing move. Let's back up, because all these cards are obviously amazing. I love these cards for 2 reasons. One, they are versatile, but what I mean by that is they're flexible depending on when in the game you want to use them. You can use them early to just make everything better for the rest of the game, or you could use them late for kind of like a burst of damage, healing, or actions. And I think that duality in how you can use them and how they're good regardless of when you draw them is excellent design. I will also like to point out that with your ability, the fact that you go through your deck quickly means that you aren't really losing out from a consistency standpoint, because some other heroes really suffer from having 1 copy of their crucial cards. Sun Wukong, Sinbad, King Arthur, just like to name a few. But the fact that you can draw 2 cards and then bottom 1, so like you're going to go through your deck faster than any other hero in the game, and it means that you will probably see all 3 of these cards by the mid game, roughly, you know. Because let's do some quick math off the dome. If you double maneuver for 5 turns, you're drawing 4 cards and then putting 2 on the bottom, and that's 20 cards, right? If you just double maneuver for 5 turns, which means your deck only has like 25 cards in it, so you're basically seeing your whole deck by obviously you're not going to be double maneuvering for 5 turns because you would just end up discarding a bunch, but like you'll probably see your whole deck if the game goes at least 10 turns, and you should definitely be playing in a style where you will see your whole deck in 10 turns. You should be seeing turn 10 is what I should say. Like, you should be playing for the long game, because all 3 of these things just provide you so much value if the game goes long. Holy cow. Let's see some more cards. Some of Donnie's schemes. We have Party Wagon. Move a friendly fighter up to 5 spaces. They may move through opposing fighters, then deal 2 damage to an opposing fighter they moved through. So not quite Jackalope Horns, but honestly probably like a little bit better, just because Jackalope Horns requires you to end next to someone to deal the 2 damage, where this is just like move through them, so you can position your fighter away from the person you want to deal damage to and not end right next to them. Although that did mean that Jackalope Horns could technically hit someone like 6 spaces away, because you could move 5 and then end adjacent to them, whereas this you need to be a little bit closer so that you can actually move through them and end not on their space. I also would like to point out that seeing the party wagon in this art style, this character is almost certainly illustrated by the person who does art for Thunder Road Vendetta, and holy cow, it fits this character in this context so well. Just, yeah, brilliant stuff here. So Party Wagon, decent way to deal some damage to your opponent. And we got Donatello Does Machines. I don't know why, kind of Donatello Does Machines. I don't know where that came from, but it says you and each other friendly player may return an attack, versatile, or defense card in their discard pile to their hand. Draw 1 card. So, does not let you return schemes, kind of like Breather. Has context for adventures play, and draws you a card. Love that. So this is essentially like draw 2 cards, but one of them is in your discard pile, which could be good much later in the game. These schemes also get better with the context that if you play the Smoke Grenade early in the game, they also gain you actions, which can do some crazy stuff later. Wow. We got some Donatello defense-ish cards. We got his Bow Staff, a 3-value block only for Donatello. It says after combat, deal 1 damage to an opposing fighter adjacent to Donatello. Draw a card. Only 2 copies of this, but I really like this as a block. Just dealing 1 damage and also drawing a card helps with just helping your opponent die faster and consistency. And of course, this is a 4 when you have the shield up early. Just super solid card. And Shift Focus, which is probably the worst card in your deck, which is a 2-value Donatello Versatile. It says after combat, move another fighter in Donatello's zone up to 3 spaces. They may move through other fighters. So this is good for positioning your allies in adventures, or moving Metalhead somewhere, or just like breaking a combo or a pin. Your opponent attacks you first action on their turn. You can just play this, move them far away, and kind of disrupt whatever they were going to have going on their turn. The value isn't really amazing. It gets a lot better as a 3 in either case, as an attack or a block. But yeah, this is most often what I'm putting on the bottom of my deck to kind of bury the bad cards and just keep good cards in my hand. Although, real quick side note about Inventive. Angel, the Donny expert I told you guys about earlier, he has a way of playing this character where basically you put back cards in an order, so that way you're like consistently drawing blocks and attacks like at an even rate later in the game, where he'll put back like a versatile, then an attack, then a block, then a versatile, then an attack. And like, that's not even something I like thought about the first couple times I played this character. I was just like, oh, I don't want this card in my hand, I'm gonna put that on the bottom. I wasn't even like thinking about the fact that like you know the order that your deck is gonna be in later, which I think is absolutely crazy. And in any format that lets you play this game while taking notes, I think you could play this character in such a meticulous way where you just like can't lose. I would also like to point out about the ability that it is a May. You can also just draw 1 card. I don't necessarily know why you wouldn't always draw 2 cards for the extra information, but you know, there's just tons of ways to play this character, which I love. We got some Metalhead cards. His first versatile, his only specific versatile, is a 3-value versatile that says untested enhancements. During combat, discard the bottom card of your deck, add its boost value to this card's value. So this is a reason why you might want to bottom a specific card, especially with the Invention buffs. This is like a 4 attack. Probably get this up to a 6 or 7 pretty reliably. Shift Focus was a 2-value boost, so I mean, at baseline if I'm getting rid of that card. It's a 5. I would not use this early in the game because you wouldn't want to discard a valuable card that you'd have a hard time seeing soon. Like if you discard one of your inventions because it started the game at the bottom of the deck, even though you can probably get it back, that's kind of bad. Also to note that this is not optional, this is mandatory, so you have to discard the bottom card of your deck. So yeah, keep that in mind, but definitely not a horrible card. Then we have the Future of Ninjutsu, a Metalhead scheme. It says look at the top card of any deck. So matters in adventures, matters just in competitive play to see what your opponent's going to draw. You may put it on the bottom. I typically would use this in adventures if I was going to look at the top card of the deck of an enemy that I wanted to attack that turn. But in a 1v1 competitive game, I typically would probably just look at the top of my deck because the rest of the scheme says draw 1 card, gain 1 action. So I could see the card that I'm going to draw. If I like it, I'll keep it. If I don't like it, I'll put it on the bottom and hopefully draw a better card. But also, when you have the smoke grenade out, this card gains you an additional action for 2 actions, so something to consider. But really good, like cantrip card, draws a card, gain an action, has some other like decent effect. Ties very nicely with untested enhancements because you can just put a big boost or a card that you don't mind discarding on the bottom of your deck. Yeah, solid stuff. And we got some Ennies. The attack Ennie is a 3 value. It says after combat, if you won the combat, you may put a card in your discard pile on the bottom of your deck. So this is one of the ways you can get cards back, and it is more likely to win a combat if you have the attack invention out, which will make this a 4. It's kind of hard to win combats as a 3, so this is like a late game option for getting some good cards back, although it does go on the bottom of your deck, so you're not going to see it for a while, which is why you might want to draw 2 from your inventive maneuvers so that you can kind of cycle through that and draw whatever you got back faster. Short Circuit, 3 value versatile Ennie. It says immediately cancel all after combat effects on your opponent's card. So this is reminiscent of what Caught in a Web from Black Widow's deck, where it's like specifically only for after combat effects. So it's not great against like Beast Form or Momentous Shift or cards that have like during combat value buffs, but does shut down a large majority of cards which have after combat effects for whatever thing. So you don't really have like a true feint, but this is the closest thing you can get. It's 3 value and you have 3 copies of it, so solid. And lastly, you have Quick Strike, which is a 3 value versatile Ennie. After combat, draw a card, just another solid cycle option. And remember that all of these versatile cards could be 4s on attack or defense, depending on what invention you have out. So yeah, Donatello is insane. He doesn't do anything crazy, like he doesn't have like hand peeks or discards or random discards or things like that. But he has consistency. He's got a lot of draw effects, and his ability means that he's going to see the cards he wants to see when he wants to see them. And all of his cards are going to be really good because they'll either be better on attack and or better on defense. He also has that combo play potential with the smoke grenade scheme invention to just gain a bunch of actions and then hit you a bunch. I think this character can be played in a handful of different ways, and I think all of them are good. I think this is going to be one of the most consistent, one of the most solid turtles to enter competitive, and I think if you wanted to hone your skills and make sure you had like good fundamentals and good decision making, I think this is a phenomenal character to pick up. I really, really like this character. I think there's so many interesting decisions you can make, and you can play him in very different creative ways that suit your play style. Just phenomenal design, and my only question is like, is he going to be broken, or is all of this stuff like tame enough that he'll be good, maybe great, but not busted, if that makes sense. So let me know what you think of our boy Donnie in the comments. Angel, please comment so I can pin it. Yeah. Stay hydrating. Oh, that's good. And thank you so much for watching. And as always, like, subscribe, and yay!